Time for our last Superheat for round 3, and it's time to turn our attention to senior Rotax. Here's your starting grid, following on from the ranking after heats yesterday. Vic Stevens from Bouvin Power will start on pole position. Alongside him, it will be his countryman from Dams Racing, Olivier Jonkers, on the front row. Then it's DHR and GKS on row 2, thanks to Jaden Teen and Sverre Ubben. DHR and KR Sports on row 3, with Macaulay Bishop and Danny Shields rounding out that row. Mika van der Pavet from SP Motorsport, joined by Bouvin Power's Lawrence Herboz on row number 4, with Jort van Wijk and Luca Cullen from Bouvin Power and Kart Racing Sud completing the top 10. Rounding out the grid, it will be Ralph van der Pavet, Martin Geiskens, Sebastian Koch, Devian Rost for the Falcon Racing Team, Luca Prima running as an independent, Lloyd Hare for Racing Evolution, Archie Buttle for KR Sport, Zach Heslop, another privateer, rounding out 18th, with Falcon Racing's Ava Dodderstein and GKS Lemons Powers, Giorgio Markenstein rounding out the 20-strong grid. 12 minutes plus an additional lap on the timer. Jaden Teen still has a lead in the championship, 369 points for the Dutchman in the 359 after the ranking after heats. Second is Macaulay Bishop on 348, with Vic Stevens on 344. Sverre Ubben rounds out the top 4 in the championship standings on 327 points. Next up, Lawrence Herboz moves up to 5th in the championship ahead of Archie Buttle. Ollie Jonkers has moved up the table quite a bit. He's actually 1 point ahead of the current the man who is the champion from last year, Hunter Motorsports, Kai Hunter. But red lights on the gantry. Here we go. Revs rise. Lights are out first time. And it's the run down to turns 1, which they now nicely negotiate 2 wide at the majority of the top part, but there's a bit of pushing and shoving. Jaden Teen having to wrestle with the steering wheel there a little bit, going through into that first main corner on the circuit. But we have got one of the KR Sport carts going a little bit wide, coming out of turn number 6. Devian Rost, who found himself down the order in 14th at the start, along with teammate David Dodderstein, who started 19th. But at the moment, it is going to be the fact that it is Macaulay Bishop that's made his way up to 2nd position. Great start by the Briton based out of Hoddesdon, and he's diving up the inside through into turn 2 and wrestles the lead away from Vic Stevens, who's now got Jaden Teen closely following him in his wheel tracks into turn 5, the left-hander. Now through into 6, down the dip, into 7, the right-hander then into the left at 8. And it was too wide coming through that corner, and someone went a little bit wide on the outskirts. Might have been Ralph van der Pavet, but Macaulay Bishop, now having got the lead at turn 2, has got at least a 2 to 3 kart length lead over Jaden Teen, his teammates. These are the 2 main protagonists from Dan Holland Racing, battling for the title this year. Side by side, a little bit further back between Ollie Jonkers and Jort van Wijk. Jort van Wijk has made up 5 places from 9th on the grid and is running strong. Right on his rear bumper is the number 327, our pole sitter, Vic Stevens, who's found himself all the way down in 6th. And Lawrence Herboz was trying to make a move on Sebastian Koch, who's made up 5 places, now up to 8th position. So Sebastian running under the German flag, also proudly sporting Belgian heritage on his race suits. Well, Ollie Jonkers now 6, move and change for 4th. That was Vic Stevens on Jort van Wijk. They've got Ollie Jonkers right with them. Danny Shields has had a drama, so he was the one that went wide early doors. And Danny Shields now dropped all the way down to 17th position. He's behind Zach Heslop for the Racing Evolution squad, and also Falcon Racing's Ava Dodderstein, one of the 4 finalists for last year's FIA Girls on Track scheme. Runs in a junior and other categories, but runs as a senior in Rotax. Also takes part in the Dutch Championship powered by Chrono Karting. Oh, and a drama there for Mika van der Pavet coming out of turn number 2. Ran wide. Might have had someone going up the inside, and sometimes you're trying to give enough racing room, but you have to also be wary of the limitations that you have of tyres and tarmac being connected as one together. But with 8.5 minutes still to go, plus an additional lap, Macaulay Bishop still leads the way. Ahead of teammate Jaden Teen. Mika van der Pavet has dropped down to 7th behind Sebastian Koch, who's made up 7 places. Now running a strong 6th and could start to close in on his teammate from the same morning, Ollie Yonkers, in the 316. Lloyd Hare from Racing Evolution has made his way up 5 places. Runs 11th out of the 398 of Lawrence Harbose, who's dropped 4 positions from 8th to 12th. But new fastest lap by the driver in 3rd place, Vic Stevens, 44.923. We now go on to lap number 7. As Mika van der Pavet manages to get through on Sverre Ubben at turn 2. And there's his brother Ralph running with SR Solutions, also trying to look for his opportunity to get through. But it's not quite happening yet. So several drivers getting their head down, trying to make up as much time as possible. Also to close the gap to those in front. At the back of that train in 11th position. Behind Mika van der Pavet, who's running 7th, is Devian Ross, the number 335. And Sverre Ubben dives up the inside. He's through on Mika van der Pavet. They got very, very close between the 2 brothers. Mika being the younger of the 2. Chess games, they continue here at Kerpen in the senior Rotax Superheat. And more to the point, well, Macaulay Bishop, once he got through on Vic Stevens, he has not had to worry about relinquishing that lead. I think this could also be a little bit of a strategy from Jaden Teen, just to not put all your cards on the table quite yet. You want to get through this Superheat, you want to make as many positions as possible. If you are not in the race, in the lead of the race, looks like we have lost Martin Gaskins. Did not come through and break the timing beam for sector number 3, so I feel might have parked it. So we are down to 19 runners. And the battle for 4th really heating up, as is the battle for, I would probably say, around about 11th position, but 4th, 5th and 6th now being contested by Jort van Wijk. There's Sebastian Koch up the inside through at turn 5 on Ollie Yonkers. That's a change between the 2 racers from Dams. So Koch now up 8 places, from 13th on the grid, now 5th, and is charging. And more to the point, well, he was over a 10.5 quicker than his teammate on the previous tour. He was also about the same, well, there was slightly more time that Jort van Wijk lost out to Sebastian Koch on the last lap. 44.859 is the best lap time for Sebastian Koch. And he did a 45.004. Yonkers 45.3 Van Wyk, also a low 45. Also, I think it was a personal best. Three and 3/4 minutes to go. And still the battles wage on. Sebastian Koch now putting the frightness on Jort van Wyk. Coming out of the final corner, and he's going to dive to the inside here at turn number 2. Easily made was that overtake on Jort van Wyk by Sebastian Koch, who now has clear air and can start chasing down Vic Stevens up the road in third. It's going to be the best part of 2 seconds that the German is going to have to make up. But there's a possibility. If you've got clear air in front of you, and look, he's already pulling a couple of karts length lead over Jort van Wyk, going through into Mutkurva. New fastest lap in the meantime by Vic Stevens, as that is a move and a change for 5th. Ollie Jonkers through on Jort van Wyk. Then behind them, Sverre Ubben, Mika van der Pavet, Devian Rost up the inside. Oh, that was chancing it by the 335 Falcon Racing Team driver up the inside of Mika van der Pavet like it was nothing. A great textbook move from Devian Rost. And that just goes to show, well, last year he had a really, really good season when it came to race pace. Didn't have Lady Luck or the results on his side, to be completely truthful with you. But now, having made changes for 2024, he's really been reinvigorated, and now he's going to go after Sverre Ubben. And that is going to be the battle for 7th place. Devian Rust already up 6 positions from the start. Started 14th. His teammate Eva Dodderstein now ahead of Zach Heslop and Archie Buttle. And she currently runs in 15th place. Devian Rust looking for that move on Sverre Ubben. Might chance it. Coming out of the final corner, he's going to get the slipstream here. Is Devian Rost into turn number 2. And he's just over a tenth and a bit behind. But Devian Rost has also in the meantime made that move on Sverre Ubben, so change for 6th. Sorry, 7th there. So Devian Rost making good his intentions, wanting to get as far up the field as possible in order to maximise his chances. But it's not for the win, it's going to be a podium in the final later on. Luca Bremer's dropped all the way down to 19th. The time is fast running out. We are going to be on the window. 3, 2, 1. Final lap underway for the senior Superheat. Bishop leads team by just over 0.7 of a second. Vic Stevens in third as our leaders making their way through into turn 5 for the 17th and final time. Bishop, when he got through, has not looked back. This is really going to put him on the best foot forward. It's going to help close the gap to Jaden Teen in the championship standings once we have the final intermediate classification ratified and confirmed. But after 17 laps here of this 1.1 kilometre circuit here at Kerpen, Bishop punches his way to victory ahead of teammate Jaden Teen. Vic Stevens rounds out the top 3. What a drive from Dams Racing. Sebastian Koch from Germany up 9 places at the end of it to 4th position, ahead of teammate Ollie Yonkers. Jort van Wijk finishes 6th, having started 9th. Devian Hurst from Falcon Racing Team started 14th, finished 7th. Sverre Ubben rounds out the top 8, ahead of the 2 brothers, Mika and Ralph van der Pavert. Lloyd Hare from Racing Evolution made up 5 places to finish 11th, ahead of Lawrence Herboz. Danny Shields, it could have been a very, very different race for the KR Sport driver based out of the UAE. Started a little bit further up the order, started 6th, ended up 13th. Good work by Ava Dodderstein, making her BNL Karting Series debut with the Falcon Racing Team this weekend, having been competing at Karting Genk last weekend, just a week ago. She made up 5 places to finish 14th, ahead of Luca Cullen, Zach Heslop, Archie Buttle, Giorgio Markenstein and Luca Prima all made it to the finish. Martin Gaskins, however, would park the cart on lap number 7 with Bishop, Teen and Stevens, your provisional top 3 in the senior superheat.